2 months ago, Mohammed was applying everywhere and getting nothing back. No interviews, no traction, no idea what was going wrong. Today, he's locked in an offer from Appian as an associate consultant. And in this conversation, we break down together the exact steps he took, strategy, mindset, execution in the job search that took him from being stuck to signing an offer with one of the world's top consulting firms. If you're a graduate trying to land a tech job or a consulting role, or in fact any job for that matter, this might be the most helpful 60 minutes you listen to this year. So let's get into it. Alrighty, we're live. Welcome everyone. Today I'm with the wonderful Mohammed. Thanks for coming.
Hello, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
My pleasure. I'll just give them a bit of a background on who you are. So Mohammed just landed a role, or he'll be starting in January as an associate consultant at a company called Appian, which if you're kind of techie, you probably know who they are. And Mohammed's background is he's a recent graduate from the University of Melbourne, Bachelor of Computer Science, also has some cool experience, quite a bit in tutoring, which I believe was high school.
Yep, high school tutoring, yep.
And then a bit of experience in admin and IT support, software development, and you've also made your own tutoring company as well, I believe.
Yeah.
And so back in, I think you first interacted with Grad Jobs in September, late September. I think you had a call with the team, eventually hopped on board, and we're shooting this in November. And I think it was a couple of weeks. Was it a week ago you got the offer?
Yeah, a week ago, yeah.
Awesome. So pretty fast results. And I guess today, the whole point of this episode is to break down exactly what you did. So people watching this, students, graduates, just job seekers in general who want to get an awesome job can learn a lot and copy the steps to hopefully get some results too.
Yep, of course, perfect.
Perfect. All righty, so maybe let's get started. So talk us through where you were in September when you first had a call with the team. Like, what was life like? What was the job search like?
Yep, of course. I think all of us graduates and job seekers in general are like usually very stressed during that time period, especially when, you're applying to lots of jobs and most of them you're not getting replies, or if you do, they're all rejection emails. And I was basically landing no interviews. So before in the past, I would just the volume was always there, applying to like so many jobs, but I didn't have like a good strategy essentially. And I was just applying for a lot of jobs and, maybe one or two would call me back, get an interview, and that's how I got my jobs in the past. So while they were effective, they weren't very efficient. And sort of my work to result ratio was like off the charts there. It wasn't like really good at all. So essentially during September, I was just sitting there and I was sort of contemplating. I'm like, oh, I'm applying for so many jobs, I think I started with Nicole and we sort of did like the maths. It was like over 1,000 easily. And there was like not even one interview from them, from one of those job applications. And that's when I reached out to you guys, because that's sort of what we figured out that, sure, I have like the volume and the mentality there of like just getting a lot of the work done, but there was no strategy behind it. I was just brute forcing it. So that was really something I was struggling with. And I was just like sort of stressed. And I was like, oh, this worked before. Why isn't it working at this time? I've landed interviews before. So that's really where I was. And that's sort of my mentality during that time in September.
Got it. A pretty normal feeling for a lot of graduates.
Yeah, very normal feeling. I think everyone feels like that, where during the beginning of the job search sort of time period, they're like very excited and, they're very enthusiastic, they make great resumes, cover letters, apply. Then what happens is then probably a few days or a week passes and then you just have all of your ecstatic and excited feeling just sinks and just disappears. You're just randomly applying whenever and sort of, not committed. And then everyone is just like, there's no motivation anymore. Like, and sort of, and you're almost there and you're sort of like, you just give up then and you're not just giving it that effort it needs anymore. So I think it's a very relatable feeling to everyone.
100%. The word that I feel best describes it is disheartened.
Yeah.
That's in my experience. I don't know if you empathize with that.
Yeah, no, definitely disheartened for sure. Um, you just wake up in the morning, you look at your emails, and you just see rejection, 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 rejection from everywhere. Yeah, it can get to a lot of people's, heads, and you're just like, oh, I really thought I was gonna get this one, or I really like this one, thought I was gonna get it. Why did they reject it? You just feel so sad, and you just feel there's like this feeling that you've done something wrong there, or maybe you were just not the fit, but it was mainly just our approach and how we were actually applying for these jobs was actually not the correct way, essentially. And there are more effective methods, and they're like more effective ways to sort of reach out to people at these companies and get these amazing jobs.
Yeah. And so that was kind of how things were. You decided to change things up, and then you went for this job at Appian. I think that's how you say it, right? Is it Appian?
Yeah, Appian. Yeah.
And yeah, so for people who don't know, what are you going to be doing as an associate consultant at Appian?
Yeah, Appian's a great company. They sort of specialize in like automating and making existing workflows in businesses more efficient, and just sort of having that more community focused approach where they help other businesses, and then that sort of helps their customer experience and all of that. So it's amazing. And as a associate consultant, my role would be as someone who's very involved in tech side, designing projects to help these businesses, while also communicating with these businesses and clients and understanding what their needs are, what the specifics of the projects are, what is realistically possible during the time frame of the project, as well as the budget that's been allocated for it. That's a really great role. It's a lot of sort of, I guess, business analysis type sort of end where you're directly interacting with clients, while also having the technical side where you code solutions for them and you implement it and you sort of test it and you try to make their existing workflow more efficient, or in fact automated. So yeah, it's like that's sort of the role. It's a great blend of technical as well as sort of the business side of things as well.
Awesome. So you're basically like a automation consultant.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, and that's great because you're helping others out essentially. You're just trying to make their existing workflow or their existing uh, product or service even better, which then helps customers. So that's really sort of why I even chose to apply for this role specifically at Appian as well. So it was really that community driven sort of purpose they had behind them. And, they had a great record in delivering these outcomes as well. And a lot of people had a lot of good things to say. So that is why I really wanted to work there. So yeah, I was like really happy when I finally landed the role. So it was like, it was a dream come true, essentially.
Amazing. And so at Appian, I know your technical test involved coding in kind of the standard, I think some of the standard languages. But Appian itself, do they use a no code or a low code tool to do all of this? Do they have their own tool? Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, Appian, they essentially have their own Appian platform, and it's like a low code / no code sort of tool that they use. And that's essentially what they'll do in the first one. They'll sort of train us on it. And that's why the technical interviews were there to sort of check that we had like a good knowledge of the technical skills from, let's say, something like Java or Python, because all of the skills from that are like transferable. So all of like the algorithmic thinking and solutions thinking behind coding and developing solutions would all just sort of apply there as well. So yeah, they will basically train us to use their own Appian platform and their own coding sort of thing that they've developed to develop solutions for clients.
So cool. And did I think you told me you were going on a trip for learning for like a training program?
Yeah, exactly. This was an amazing opportunity. This was something I saw in like the testimonials of other graduates who got the role. And that was also quite intriguing, where for the training, they're actually sending us to the US, to their headquarters, for sort of training. So it'd be like, sort of classroom style sort of training, teaching us the Appian platform and how to use it. And once the training's complete, then they're gonna put us onto projects then. So yeah, it's very exciting. So you sort of learn everything and then we just get straight into practical then. So very looking forward to that, very excited.
So good. And what do you think made you the right fit for consulting? Like, what do you think it fits who you are?
Yeah, but I mean, this was more like, it was like sort of like I think that took like a bit of time. It was like a slow burnout. When I started my degree, I was thinking more sort of being, just pure like developer, like a full stack developer, super technical role. But then after doing a couple of subjects in uni and then also landing my internship and then also working the job that I had in administration and IT, I sort of enjoy like the business side of things more as well. And also my involvement with trying to start up and run my own tutoring company as well. So having like more business knowledge and sort of thinking about what value you can provide to people and sort of making impact for them. And it's very common in sort of like the business world, and sort of using my technical expertise to sort of think, okay, how can I develop something and, fulfill a client's needs? And that was exactly what we had at the internship. We would have like back and forwards with clients and, sort of ask them, okay, what do you guys need? What's realistically possible? So sort of having that more business side and client facing side was something I just sort of developed and learned to sort of enjoy more than a pure technical role. So especially during my internship as well. And I was like, yeah, this is like perfect for me. It's like a good blend of technical with a nice blend of the client facing side and the business side. And that's really what I'm looking for. So all the jobs I was looking for and I was applying to were either consulting roles or I guess more business analyst roles or something like that. So sort of in that realm where we had a nice client facing business side, but then we also had the technical side as well. And yeah, that's sort of how I just figured out what I was more passionate about and what I could see myself doing for a very, very long time.
Love it. And so you kind of went from struggling a bit to getting this amazing kind of like a dream role, really.
Yeah.
And I guess the transformation took maybe like, well, less than 2 months, like a bit over a month, something like that. So I think what people are wondering is, okay, what were the shifts you made? What were the changes you made to who you were, your approach, how you spent your time? Or just maybe let's focus on like the few big shifts. Because I'm sure there were a lot.
Yeah, I think the number one shift was, and this is something Nicole pointed out as well in our first call, was I was just sort of going around and throwing my resume. I wasn't tailoring my resumes or my cover letter. I wasn't making it specific to the company and what value I can provide to them and why I'm a fit, essentially. So they weren't personalized. There was no personality to it. It was like, just like a bot just sending out resumes left, right, and center. So that was the biggest thing. And while my Appian offer was not through this, the way I'm about to discuss right now, I think this approach is more, it was like an approach I sort of learned, which you guys taught amazingly. And I think is something that used for future job searches as well. And overall, just to connect with more people. And that was, reaching out to people on LinkedIn and, DMing them, asking for coffee chats and sort of, providing value or getting like an insight or doing something where you can initiate that chat, a quick coffee chat. And then from there, sort of turn that cold lead, I guess, or that cold sort of individual there into like a warm one. And then you can sort of then finally provide the ask and be like, if you guys had any opportunities for this role, that would be awesome, So while my Appian one was not there, it was a generic application. I think once I learned that, I felt that was the more effective one. I just got lucky with the Appian application there. And sort of like just like a stat for people is around over 1,000 people applied for the Appian one on LinkedIn alone. I applied to LinkedIn and they only hired 3 people. from those over 1,000. So it really just goes to show that these job applications that are on like job sites are like super competitive, and getting in them is like, insanely hard. So I was really lucky, and I think the more effective approach was definitely the reaching out to people, connecting with them, getting those coffee chats in, getting as many connection requests as you could, and tailoring your resumes for the specific role, and identifying why you want to work at this company in this role, what value you can provide, and just add that personality to it, make it specific to yours. So I think those were like the main things that when I improved those, I saw like a huge success in my job applications as well.
Yeah, awesome. That's really powerful. So in summary, it was kind of being more targeted about what roles you were going for and tailoring your application, really telling them like, this is why you should pick me and why I want this. And then the networking side. So just going out there and connecting with people in your field instead of just sitting on the sidelines and clicking easy apply.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Like sitting on the side and clicking easy apply is easy, but it's not effective at all. It's just maybe like a 0.1% chance of getting even a response from them, or even like an interview offer. So yeah, I think it's way more effective to sort of essentially sort of look for jobs before they've even be advertised on job sites. Essentially, you want to be like proactive, and that's like the most effective way to sort of do your job search, and obviously be very targeted. Know exactly what role at what company and why, and really think about the why. Like, why do you want to work here? Why do they need you? What is it that you can do that no one else can? And that's really what they look for. Even once you get an interview offer, that's what they actually sort of look for. They're like, why is it this person? Sort of tell us why no one else can do what you can do. So you want that to be conveyed in your job application, in your outreach as well, when you're reaching out to others in those specific companies for those specific roles. So that's really sort of the best way to really get those jobs very early, like in a small time frame as well. Like people would be shocked how quick and how effective these techniques are.
Yeah, that's very powerful. And I think a lot of people hear this advice and they think they're implementing it, but they're really not.
Yeah.
And I think they also underestimate how easy and quick it is for hiring managers to kind of just see through your application and understand this person doesn't really know what we do here, and they clearly aren't that interested.
Yeah.
Like it's a very quick decision, and they can see it very, very fast. Yeah. And when you are that person who really wants it and has thought about this, it's, again, very easy to see, okay, this person, boom, stands out like that.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hiring managers can see right through it. Like if they see, even though you may personally, because obviously, you're applying for jobs and you're looking for a job, like a dream job that you're really passionate about. But if your application does not reflect that, or your approach or your outreach does not reflect that, then they'll just see right through it, and they'll be like, even though that may not be the case. So that's why you want to really make sure you get those as targeted and as personalized as possible. And yeah, then, it'll just stand out, because a lot of people, I guess 99% of people are just sitting there clicking easy apply, So if you're part of the 1% who actually puts in a lot of effort and, tries to reach out to people working at the company, or, makes a more targeted and better job application overall, then that's where you see the real benefits, and you can get quick results then as well.
100%. And I think actually, although it looks really competitive from the outside, I think a lot of employers right now are asking, where is the good talent? Because there's a very small number of people who actually want that job, understand what it is, actually care, and are putting in the effort. It's so funny that the job seekers are thinking one thing, there's too many people applying, it's too competitive. And then the employers are saying, we can't find the right people.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, people, they underestimate how important this part is. It seems really wishy-washy, right? Like, oh, you have to figure out what you really want and target the right jobs and
Yeah.
ask why, but it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I think the placement of like the bulletproof mindset, along with sort of the next section where we were sort of figuring out the top companies we want to actually apply to, according to our skills and interests and passions, as well as like the specific roles, were very important. I think it's great having those as the first thing, because then when you actually know what you're passionate about and what roles you actually want to do and work in for a long time, then it just makes it so much easier, and you can put, all that personality and, your individual strengths and quirks into those applications and those outreach. And when the hiring manager sees that, that's the biggest green flag for them. Like, what else do they want? They see someone who, puts the company first. They really care. They really want it. They show they're passionate, and that's where they're like, awesome, this is the one. And then that's how you get the interviews. And then again in the interviews, you again show that a bit more. You show you're really passionate. Show up 15 minutes before time. Sit there already, overdress, and yeah, they see it and they're like, awesome, this is the one. So this is actually hilarious. In all of my interviews, I was in like a full suit, whereas everyone else was like in a t-shirt or like, a polo shirt, whatever. My final interview was with a VP, and he was in like a sweater and I was in like a suit. So he was able to see that passion there. Essentially, he's like, oh yeah, he's put an effort. I was in the calls like 15 minutes earlier. So yeah, it's really, if you can really think about what you want to do and where you want to work and where you want to apply those skills, it makes it way easier. And that way you're just more naturally more passionate about it. And then they see it. It's authentic then. So they can see it, and that's where you sort of shine, essentially.
100%. People definitely underestimate the power of being passionate.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people get amazing jobs, and you would look at their resume, you'd compare it to someone else who didn't get the job and who's struggling, and you think, how did that person get it? And so much of the time, it is just this crazy fiery passion they have, and they can just feel it, the energy when they reach out, when they're interviewing in their application. And that's what sets them apart, especially at the graduate level, from like everyone else. And I think it's also crazy because we've spoken to thousands and thousands of graduates, and all of them, most of them, they say they really have this dream company, right? Like, I really want to work at Google and this, but then you start digging and you go, well, why and what specific team? And then they're like, I don't know the specific team, and I don't really know why I want to work at Google or Deloitte. And it's just very obvious they haven't actually. They're just copying what some other person has said somewhere. Yeah. Like, everyone wants to work at Google, so okay, I'll work at Google too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was one of those people as well. When I had my first call with Nicole, she's like, "Oh, what are the top companies you want to work at?" And then I say, Google, TikTok, whatever. She's like, "Okay." And then obviously, when I actually did the course, I was like, "Why do I actually want to work at these places?" I was sort of thinking, and that's why sort of through my research, I found Appian, although being like one of the more higher competitive ones, but there were like a lot of amazing companies there as well, which I sort of found out, and I was like really passionate about those roles as well. And you just sort of find yourself, finding, I think, probably better jobs because you're more passionate about them. And when you're passionate about them, you're going to perform really well. The work stress, that environment won't really get to your head as much because you're enjoying what you do. You love what you do, rather than, working, wherever else. And you just work there because everyone was like, oh, we want to work there. But it actually wasn't for you, it was for someone else. You weren't the right fit there in that work culture and the type of work they do. It's very important finding your personal sort of passion and where you can work and what type of roles suit you, what type of companies suit you. And one of the exercises where we were sort of looking at the more unknown companies, like the ones with not big names, are actually the ones you want to work at the most. Like, they're the ones where you're like, oh, I'd rather get a job here than like some, big company, whatever. This sounds more like me, and that's very important, So that's also another big advice I'd give to a lot of people is don't be super, you know, I guess particular about like big name companies or big companies or that they have to be part of the S&P 500 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just look at what works for you, what you're really passionate about, where you can provide the most value as well. And really something where you can see yourself working for a really long time and you just enjoy the work there. The last thing you want is to get a good job, like a job at like a really big company, but you just don't enjoy your day-to-day life there. You don't enjoy the work. So we want to make sure we get the right jobs where we're actually happy in as well.
100%. Awesome. And I know through the program, you chatted with a few of our mentors / coaches. I think Arnav, a consultant at KPMG, Cyan, he's a consultant as well. He's actually a lead consultant, I think, at a smaller firm now. And they're both past clients, by the way. I'm not sure if you knew that.
Cyan was, I wasn't sure about Arnav.
Oh, really? Yeah, they're pretty much all of our mentors are just past clients. So Arnav was also in this position as well years ago. And he did, you could check the podcast out as well. He did one.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you chatted with Arnav, Cyan, and Nicole. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, these three. And Mary too, like through the emails. She helped out a lot as well.
Yeah, Mary's the managing our email support. And so was there anything when you talked to these guys that was, or did they help you kind of see things that you couldn't see before? You mentioned Nicole kind of digging into the why behind your choices. Was there anything else that was like,
Yeah, I mean, definitely so once I actually received like the invitation to interview, and they say it was like a multi-stage interview process, I was like sort of like, whoa, that's different. I've never done this before. Like it's usually like just one interview done. So there's like a first interview, then there's like 2 technical interviews, then there's a final interview with the VP. So I was sort of like, okay, what are they going to ask? What should I do? What should I say? And I went through the modules first for the interviews as well, and that's where I learned like more techniques. So I've always been generally not too bad at interviews. Like I don't like get nervous or anything. I just sort of talk, and I guess it's just sort of my passion, I guess, carries the conversation, I guess. So I guess they see that, and that's how I got hired in my previous like interning roles. So it was basically I had the conversational aspect, but I just needed more like specific strategies to answer more technical questions. And yeah, that's where Arnav and Signed as well, that both of them were absolutely incredible, and they helped a lot, especially Arnav as well, with like a lot of sessions. And yeah, he just kept like reassuring me. He's like, oh, it's it's pretty chill. You're good at communicating. It's not too bad. Just keep in mind these few strategies, and you should be fine. I have like a habit of sort of either going too much into like technical details, especially, and it could bore the other person. So that's where he like helped me the most, where he was like, all right, structure your response like this, and then what would happen is if they want more details, they'll ask you. If they don't, then they'll just, and no one really asked for more details. They just wanted it very simple, very simplified. So that interviews were sort of more like I guess like a vibe check, and sort of checking how passionate you are, how you articulate yourself. And even the technical interviews were more about, it's sort of your passion and why you want to work at Appian and why you enjoy the technical side of things. Essentially, that's why it was like a technical interview. So yeah, like giving me a lot of reassurance, giving me strategies there, and then Signed as well, helping me out, being a lead consultant, gave me a lot of insight and was like, oh, you'll do amazing. You're doing a great job. Your responses are great. He said, just keep it chill, don't get nervous. And he said, your personality will carry the conversation. So yeah, it was more sort of giving me again those specific strategies. Just like with the job application process, always had sort of the work ethic or like the foundational skills, but just had to get the more refined skills and strategies to really, make it as good as possible and really land the job. So that's what they really helped me out with.
So good. And so the interview prep, I know you did some sessions with the team. I think so. Cyan, Arnav, a few sessions with them.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you did to prep for those interviews that, I don't know, maybe other people could kind of learn from when they're interviewing?
Yeah, of course. I think the biggest thing is, again, this should be something that's done in your sort of job application or like company research point, but it's really, I think the strongest thing was the why aspect. And because I loved Appian as a company so much and what they did and how I fit, every single interview they were like, "Oh wow, do you know someone who works here? Like you know a lot about this role and you know a lot about Appian, you know?" I was like, "No, it's just like my own research. I'm so passionate, you know, I did so much research and I like sort of put in my application very, you know, thoughtfully and like I put a lot of thought into it. And I applied to places where I'm really passionate about and places where I think I'll be a good fit and can bring a lot of value. So again, sort of go through that, sort of internalize it and go through your research again and be like, why did I apply for this role in the first place? And what will I provide to them? And that's sort of what carried my interviews. And just be super passionate about it. You know, after every interview, I sent the thank you emails. I got a response from 3 out of the 4 thank you emails for the 4 interviews. So they even responded back, and they were like, "Oh, if you got any questions for the next stage, you can ask us directly." So yeah, it was absolutely amazing, and yeah, it's just sort of emanating as much of that passion as much as possible. And again, that is only possible when you sort of figure out why you want to work at this place, why this role, because the companies have other roles as well. So why this role? And that's sort of the biggest thing that I think will differentiate you from other candidates for the role. And it's very important. So, and it's just something another friend of mine was applying for an internship a couple of weeks ago. And he had an interview. So I asked him, why do you want to work at this company? He's like, "Oh, for the experience." And I was like, that's not a good enough answer. You need to sort of think, why did I apply here? What can I do here? Why do they need me here? And then he sort of thought through it and he's like, why did I apply to this place as well? And that's how I helped him with that interview as well. And yeah, he did an amazing job as well. He's still waiting for a response. So, but yeah, sort of it makes your interview much better. And he reported how the person I was interviewing was like smiling. It was a great time. He was like, "Oh, you've got like amazing research. You know what we're doing. That sounds awesome." So yeah, really just, being very well researched in the company and what they do and why you want to help them achieve their goals as well.
I love that. That's such good advice. And I think one thing a lot of people miss is that a lot of the time, these motivations, the reasoning behind going for a specific role, they are there. You just have to kind of uncover them a little bit and go,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah." And if I'm doing an interview prep with someone, I'll ask them, why do you want the job? And they don't really have an answer.
Yeah.
But as we start digging into it, I go, "Oh, well, is it because of this? Or is it because of, is it the type of work you'll be doing? Is it the kind of clients that the company works with? Is it that it's a good match for your skills?" So you kind of probe people and they go, "Oh yeah, that's actually why." And once they have just kind of thought about it, when they go into the interview and they ask, "Why do you want the job?" It's so easy and natural for them. They go, "Oh, this is actually a dream job because of these things I just uncovered." It's not like you're manufacturing a response so much.
Yeah, exactly. And that's very important. It's like, because if you're being unauthentic, they'll see right through it. So again, when you sort of naturally uncover it and you understand the reasons, which is what I did with my friend. I was like, "Oh, why?" And then just asking like a couple of like targeted questions to get like specific responses from him. And then I was like, "There you go. That's your reason." And he's like, "Oh yeah, it's like I never like thought of it that way." He's like, "I'm surprised that I even thought like this." I was like, "Exactly." And that they could see that authenticity then and that true passion there for that role. And that's really what stands out to hiring managers and the people interviewing you as well.
And when you finished those interviews, did you know that you had crushed it, or were you kind of like on the fence about it?
Oh, I think I was very confident by the end of all interviews, just because the interview experience was so good. There was like a lot of laughs, a lot of smiling, a bit of jokes. And the people I interviewed were absolutely incredible as well. They were managers and people that I was really inspired by as well. Even like having like a genuine passion to, because they were like people I'm going to be working with soon in my role. And when I saw like their profiles and their history, everything, they were sort of shocked. They were like, like the VP was, recently became a VP. So I like congratulated him for that. It's like, you've had an awesome journey. And I was like, you're very inspirational to me as well. And he really liked that, I was so inspired by him, and I want to sort of, get as much experience and as much advice as I can from him. So, when I was asking him the questions, you could see that passion there as well towards the end of our interview. So yeah, and absolutely crushed it. And of course, the final interview, was absolutely incredible. He was like, he like said it, like, you sound like you're someone that'll fit very well, especially when he asked more questions about like teamwork and stuff. I sort of talked about how the number one thing is empathy, and people have bad days, and you need to like really be considerate. You can't just go out scolding people. So that was something that really he resonated with as well, especially being a VP of customer success. These are the qualities he has as well. And he's like, that's exactly like he said it. That's exactly what we're looking for. You're exactly what we're looking for. And in my head, I was like, yes, that's great to hear. And yeah, I'm really glad that he appreciated that trait of mine. So yeah, it's pretty much, you just got to show that authenticity and, be really passionate about the people working there, the people interviewing you, and being inspired by them as well. And again, that all happens when you sort of uncover, sort of move away from the, I want to work at Google or Deloitte or whatever. You sort of see what aligns with your passions and your skills.
100%. And I know you had a bit of a difficult time with the job search at the beginning.
Yeah.
Eventually got that big win. What was it that kept you going?
Ooh, I think there were a lot of things for me. I think the biggest thing for me was, I guess what kept me going was like, really, I guess, again, it comes back to that passion. And when you're so tied to the, the why aspect of why you're doing this, it hurts when you're actually not doing the work. It hurts when you actually quit. So really, when you're just like so emotionally invested, and sure, it hurts when you get rejected, but it hurts way more when you quit, essentially. So really, when your head and your like emotions and passions are really like aligned with your goal, then nothing can stop you. Just keep going, 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 going. And keep doing those job applications, you keep reaching out, you keep tailoring your resumes, and you try to work on whatever you can to get those job offers and to really show it, because now there's a bigger purpose behind it. It's not as simple as, I just want to get a job because I need to pay the bills, I need to afford the house, whatever. Now there's like a bigger reason to it, and that purpose is what sort of keeps you moving forward. Like the purpose is so big that quitting is like the worst thing. Like that's more disheartening than getting rejection emails from job applications or recruiters or hiring managers. So yeah, really just having that big purpose and that big why for why you're doing this really helps out. And for me personally, that big why being that I really wanted to work at an awesome company and really just work at a company that was way more like sort of community driven, or like sort of cares about the community overall and sort of providing value to people and helping them out. So in my head, I was like, if I don't land these roles, I won't be, going around and making impact on the company I want to work at, which then as a domino effect will make an impact on other common people's lives who are using their services or whatever. So I was like, that purpose was there where I was like, all right, I need to land something, and so I can start making an impact and really, help people out and give them better service and more efficient service. And that's where sort of the consulting roles, and especially specifically Appian, was something I really resonated with. And that's why, I was really glad when I got the job there, because the why was very strong for it. I think they could see that in the interviews as well.
And how did it feel when you got that? Was it an email or a call with the offer?
It was a call. Yes, it was a call. It was absolutely incredible. I was just like, wow, and even Luke, who's the recruiter or the talent acquisition manager, was absolutely incredible. Throughout the whole way, he was giving me tips. Like, these are the questions they'll ask. Do a bit of research in this. I think he could also see the passion of our first call, and yeah, he was just, he was like, oh my god, you've secured the job. They really loved you, whatever. And he was also very, like, passionate and really wanted to get me on board. Like, he kept asking me every phone call he had. He'd ask me, "How's your job application going?" Which I was like, "Oh, that's a very personal question to ask." It's like, "Oh, do you have any other interviews and things like that?" I was like, "Oh, that's a bit weird." But then in the final call, I understood why he asked it, because he was trying to sort of, get me through the interview process really quick. Because it was like, the first interview happened in a specific week, and then the other three interviews happened on back-to-back days, like quick succession. He just booked it all in. And I guess it was probably because the first interview went so well. He's like, all right, this candidate might be the one, so let's just get it quickly done and everything. And it was just absolutely incredible. Got the job offer letter, and it's like, let's sign it and everything. And yeah, he was very quick. So I understood why he was asking, because he really wanted to lock me in. So I guess when you can really emanate that passion, and the company resonates with it, they will do anything to get a hold of you, including asking questions like, oh, do you have other interviews? How is your other job applications going? Is Appian your top priority? Are there other companies? Something like that. Even if maybe in other cases, if you choose not to move forward and you show so much passion and interest, they might even negotiate salaries for you as well. The big extents companies would go for, because like you said, hiring managers right now are saying, we can't find talent, so they're also struggling as well. So once they find someone that they really like, they will do anything to lock them in.
Yeah. And what do you think is the biggest mistake, let's say the biggest mindset mistake that most graduates are making that needs to be kind of fixed for them to see some success?
I think it's just of course, getting rejection emails and, getting rejection messages are disheartening. They're not nice. But I guess sort of controlling your emotions and sort of channeling them in like a direction where I did was, I would get more disheartened if I quit rather than, getting rejection emails. That was more disheartening and sad for me. So I just couldn't quit. If I quit, then, that was like, it was awful. So sort of channeling that same, disheartened sort of thing, but channel it towards quitting, and just don't quit, just keep going. I put in, like I said in the first, like call with Nicole, we calculated, I put in like over 1,000 applications after my internship. And that was also like within the month of end of August to beginning of September. So, I put in like over 1,000 applications in 1 month, and I got nothing from any of them, And then obviously then the Appian one was just like a job I saw, and then I was gonna sort of reach out and do my networking. But then by the time I was gonna come around to that, I just got like a call a month later being like, oh, you put in application for Appian, And I was like, oh wow. And then, that's where the process kicked off. So yeah, just don't get disheartened by being rejected. It is normal. Like sort of, face your sort of feeling or emotions of getting rejected, and, just channel it somewhere else, where if you quit, that's even worse, and just keep going through it. It'll take time, and miracles can happen. I remember this was something I pointed out to Nicole as well, was when I informed her I got the offer. I was like, I remember in our first call, I said, I want to secure a role in November. And in that call, she also did tell me, she's like, oh yeah, and I did tell you that I see a lot of potential in you, and I think you will, get the offers very quick, and you'll get very quick results because you've got the work ethic there. And, I actually got the offer, just before November. In fact, it was like 30th, October 31st, whatever. So yeah, I actually even beat my own goal there and, receive, like, secure that offer very quick. And it all comes from just not quitting. You have to be persistent. So don't get disheartened. Just keep going, and things will happen. Miracles will happen. You'll get shocked, like I did. When I got the first phone call, not even like the interview or the job offer. I was more shocked at the first phone call where I was like, "Oh my god, I got a phone call." So things happen, and you'll be delighted when they do. So just keep going.
I love it. And from a more personal perspective, what would you say was the part of the program which helped you the most? Like, what was the most valuable bit?
I think the most valuable bit for me was definitely, like, the whole team, like how much you guys supported me. Like, I remember when I got the interview, I reached out to Nicole, then I reached out to you as well. And, obviously, you being the founder and having this sort of personal client and, founder sort of relationship as well is absolutely incredible as well. And I was like really inspired by that as well. And, you reached out and, sort of set things up with Arnav and then Cyan, and, Mary also helped out, and Nicole. So, everyone just working and sort of supporting me the whole way through this process as well was absolutely incredible. And then, you trying to support me in other ways with other offers and applications as well was absolutely incredible. So I think the biggest thing for me was having that strong team and a lot of people who are supporting me, and, you guys being really genuine and really caring for us graduates as well. And I really felt that. So I really appreciated you guys, you know, going out of your way, keeping in contact, getting things done, making sure any assistance, Mary as well. After the interview, she's like, is there anything else we can do to help out as well? And Nicole as well, everyone. So it was absolutely incredible. And I think having that one-on-one support with you guys really helped out, because then I got like a lot of guidance. I got a lot of guidance for you and insight from you for the interviews as well. And then Arnav as well, gave me a lot of insights, and Cyan as well. And, just having all this advice from so many people, and especially from people who are experienced in landed roles, such as Arnav, Cyan as well. So it's absolutely incredible. And yeah, even the Cyan one, like, I didn't even expect that, you would go get someone who's already a consultant in the same field. And, I got the message and the email as well. I was like, oh my God, wow, you guys over delivered there as well. And that was absolutely incredible. So yeah, the one-on-one support and you guys being there for me was, I think, really, really helpful for me, and was really the main thing that helped me a lot. So thank you so much for that.
No, that made my day. Thank you for the kind words. What I will say though is, it's also a blessing for us to have such a wonderful client. And I told you this before the call as well. When we have clients like you, the team tells me. Everyone talks, and Arnav will mention it. He'll say that this guy's gonna kill it. Mary will say, "Oh, this person's got huge potential." Nicole tells me, and I get this amazing feedback. And then also messaging you within our community as well, and we can just feel it. So, like Nicole said, you're always destined for awesome results, and it's that kind of mindset, because you're not only a hard worker, you're like really positive, you're looking for the best in things, and you're very likable, very kind of nice to connect with as a person. And I think that makes our job a lot easier, supporting you. So, it would be amazing if we could somehow transpose this mindset onto everyone else who's job searching. I'm not sure how to do that, but just massive shout out to you as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah,
that's also the reason I hopped on this podcast as well, is just trying to spread that positivity and sort of provide value to other graduates just like me and just like others before me, really just providing that value and really helping them out, because it is tough, it is hard, but it's not impossible. So that's really, it's just to give hope that it's not impossible. You just gotta set your mindset, and I think that's very important. That's why I really like the structure of the program as well, how one of the first things was the bulletproof mindset, and that really just helps people a lot. And I think probably might be one of, if not the most valuable module there, because when your mindset is right, then everything else follows, you know. So yeah, I think sort of trying to help people, inspire them, and provide value to them. So hopefully they, you know, enjoy this podcast and can get a lot of insight from it, and you know, it'll really help them with their job application and their motivation and you know their mindset as well.
100%. This podcast episode will definitely get some people some offers. 100%. All right, awesome. Well, I think that's pretty much it. If the viewer is still listening to this at the end and you're struggling, you know, just please watch this video in full, take notes, take lessons from Mohammed, and actually apply them. And I guess if you want support like this and you want to get help from the program, feel free to reach out. I'm sure Mohammed's probably happy to take messages as well, and feel free to message me. And hopefully we'll get you as a mentor in the program at some point. If you're interested, just let me know. That'd be sweet. Would love to have you.
Yep, of course. No worries. Thank you so much for that.
Awesome. All right, we'll finish up. Any final words?
Yeah, I guess this is directly to the viewers. You know, don't give up. Don't get disheartened. You know, giving up is more disheartening than that. Trust me. So don't give up. Just keep going, and I promise you, miracles will happen, and you'll be shocked just like I was when you get that phone call or that final offer.
Love it. Awesome. All right, we'll see you guys. Thanks for watching.